Hello, everybody, and welcome to Couchcast Episode 2. My name is Jason. I'll be your host. Reach out to the show in the YouTube comments, or follow us on Facebook.com/Couch1Gaming. Any questions or comments you'd like for the show, leave them there. And remember, if you like what we're doing, subscribe, like, and share our videos. Gamescom happened this week. Xbox was there. I thought they had a great show. A few new announcements. A lot more gameplay of stuff that was announced before. Let's get into what they did. They started off with Quantum Break. They showed a release date for that. That's coming out April 5th, 2016. It's still a little bit of ways, but they brought out a lot of stuff for that. They nailed down some pretty big actors. Shawn Ashmore, who plays Iceman in the X-Men movies. Aidan Gillen plays Littlefinger in Game of Thrones. They're putting some money behind this game, it looks like. They want this to be a big hitter next year. Let's start off by saying the game looks really, really good. The environments look great. The character models look amazing. Shawn Ashmore looks exactly like himself. The game really looks like a combination of an evolution of what Max Payne and Alan Wake were. It's pretty much, it looks like it's a third-person kind of like shooter with, some cover mechanics. It's got sort of like their newest version of like what the bullet time gameplay from Max Payne. Your character is kind of creating these like time bubbles where he can like pause time and shoot to another section of the screen really behind the guys and take them out. That only works for some guys, and the other guys, they can also stop time. It looks rather interesting. They had Shawn Ashmore up there after the demo, and he talked a little bit more about the actual show that is going along with this. And from what I gather, it looks like it's just going to be like kind of like full motion video cutscenes pretty much. I don't think it's going to be like a separate TV thing, but he did say that the game is more about the heroes, but the show is going to be about the villains. So I'm guessing you're going to get the hero's perspective through the game as you play it, and then when you watch the show, the FMV cutscenes, you'll get more of the villain's perspective, which it seems really, really cool. One thing Remedy knows how to do is make some really, really good games. So if I had to put money on it, I would definitely put money that this game is not going to disappoint next year. Next up, they showed Crackdown 3. They had a short little trailer for Crackdown 3 with a lot of developer commentary and stuff. First thing we noticed that it's not cel-shaded anymore. It's got this more of a cartoony, realistic look going for it. It's basically what you could expect from Crackdown. You're jumping around, shooting stuff. It's got transforming vehicles. You're jumping around collecting orbs. But the big thing that they showed off this time, which looks really cool, is everything is destructible in multiplayer in that game. The buildings, you can destroy the buildings. From what I gather, you can destroy everything in there in multiplayer. But I think that's what they did come out and say later is that the environments are only partially destructible in single player. They did say that there will be a multiplayer beta next summer, so we'll probably look for that to launch sometime in the fall of next year. Next up, they had Kamiya come out from Platinum Games to show us Scalebound. I kind of got a Devil May Cry meets Monster Hunter kind of vibe from that game. You start off as this guy who's got like some Beats headphones on, it looks like, and he's got this dragon with him. That's kind of like his partner. And you're going around, which looks like an open environment, and you're killing soldiers and other monsters. Your dragon fights with you. You're opening chests. I'm not sure if there's any loot in there. It looked like that might be kind of like a loot game. Not sure. But they also did say that it's going to be a 4-player co-op game. You did see some damage numbers above the guys as you're hitting them, so I'm guessing there's going to be some kind of RPG elements to the game. It looks like a promising game. Platinum has a pretty good reputation of delivering really good stuff, so they don't really sell all that well though. But with Microsoft's money, I'm really looking forward to see what Platinum can do. I think the sky's the limit for them. They're usually make games on a lot of smaller budgets. Hopefully they've got the backing to put something really good together. They followed that up with a few smaller announcements. I guess they're going to start giving people who use the over-the-air TV tuner DVR capabilities through the Xbox One. So if you have one of those over-the-air TV turners, that's pretty cool. They announced that the new chat pad is going to be coming, and boy, this thing is gigantic. It looks like it sticks out like about an inch and a half below the Xbox One controller. It's definitely an eyesore. But the thing that's cool about that is that there's going to be separate buttons on there for picture and video sharing, which is something the Xbox really, really desperately needs. We'll talk about that a little later in the show. After that, it was announced that all future Xbox 360 games with gold will be backwards compatible at launch. I thought that the 360 backwards compat announcement at E3 was a pretty big announcement. I really don't download any of the 360 games with gold now because I don't have the 360 hooked up, but I can totally see myself, if there's something that's games with gold that I haven't played, downloading it because I can play it on my Xbox One. That's really, really cool. That's a big fan service item. Then they announced that Killer Instinct Season 3 will be coming out in March, and starting today, Battletoads character Rash is available to play. Killer Instinct has a nice little following. I played the first season. I thought it was a really, really good sound, mechanically fighting game. I really like their free-to-play mechanic really on that, where you always have an alternating free character. You can buy individual characters for $5, or the season is only like $20. I think that game has gone under the radar as probably one of the best pricing structures for a game this generation. I'm sure Killer Instinct fans are going to really like that announcement. Up next, they showed a little bit more of the next Dark Souls 3, and it looks really, really good. The environments, the character models look awesome. And I've really fallen in love with that Souls, doing air quotes here, Souls series. Bloodborne, I played Bloodborne was my first Souls game I played this year. I absolutely love that game. I love their whole universe, really. Even though that's a different game, I love like their whole universe, really, of that. I'm super excited. That's a must. That's a day one buy for me when that comes out. I'll probably end up even playing Dark Souls 2 sometime this year, but those are just tough games to get into because you got to really have time to just dedicate and beat your head against the wall in those games. They take a certain amount of patience to play. But there might not be a better reward in gaming than when you beat one of those Dark Souls bosses. It is just like a weight has been lifted off off your shoulder. It's just like such an accomplishment. You're like just jumping up and down, like yeah. It's really a great feeling. The next thing was pretty much a no-brainer. Since the show was in Europe, they brought out the guys from EA to show off FIFA 16. They announced 2 new bundles for FIFA 16, one with a 500 gigabyte hard drive, the other one with a terabyte hard drive. They both come with FIFA and EA Access. Now, EA Access, if you listen to the general games media, it's pretty much like a running joke with them. But they pretty much have no clue. EA Access is one of the, if not the best, values in gaming, pretty much. You get all the games like 5 days early with a 10-hour trial. You get 10% discount on all digital purchases. That's games, DLC, Ultimate Team content. And you get all of last year's sports games. You get games like Battlefield, Titanfall, Plants vs. Zombies, Peggle 2, Need for Speed. They just released Dragon Age Inquisition. All those games go into a vault, and you have those all forever as long as you're an EA Access subscriber. If you wanted to listen to anything about sports, listen to guys like Rich Grisham and Pasta Padre, Brian Weedeye on hitthepass.com. They are hands down the best when it comes to talking about sports games. Yeah, so give EA Access a shot. I think it's only like $6 a month or $30 for the year. Try it out for a month, and I guarantee you'll probably be a customer for theirs for as long as the service runs. It's a great service. Up next, they showed this was very disappointing for me. Halo 5, they had sort of like an esports match of Halo 5, which I was really hoping they'd show more of Master Chief's story. They showed some of Spartan Locke's story at E3, and mostly everybody thought, okay, at Gamescom they're going to show the story from Master Chief's perspective, but they didn't. They just showed like this esports match, and they had commentators commentating on it. It was really lame. And then they showed that there's going to be $1 million Halo Championship Series prize pool, blah, blah, blah. But regardless of that, Halo 5, it still looks great. The beta was awesome when I played it. It's my most anticipated game for the rest of the year. Then they talked about the Halo 5 1 terabyte console bundle. It really looks really cool. That's going to be $500 at launch. They showed some Just Cause 3. That game looks absolutely nuts. I've never played one of those games, but it looks like that anything goes in that game. It comes with Just Cause 2 for the 360, so that's going to be pretty cool. You can play both of those games on your Xbox One. They showed some Forza 6. Graphically, it looks a little bit better than Forza 5. There's 450 cars, I think they said, which I think that's going to be I think that's going to be almost double what Forza 5 launched with, I think. It showed night racing, weather effects. It's going to be a Forza game. You know whether you're probably going to like it or not. Then they showed a demo of Tomb Raider. That looks beautiful. It looks like it plays a lot similar to the first Tomb Raider. They showed some cool stealth knife kills where she's jumping off like this hut and jumps on this guy and stabs him with her knife. They showed some bow and arrow stuff. It looked one situation she shot like a double arrow. It looked almost like a mark and execute type thing from Splinter Cell. That was pretty cool. Let's see. You can customize your arrows. She had some different kind of arrows. One looked like it shot like some sleeping gas or poison or something. There's supposed to be more tomb raiding in this game, whatever that means. I mean, there was hardly any tombs to raid in the last one, so I'm not sure if that's going to be they're just adding more bonus tombs or if that's going to be actually something that's built into the story. But for me, that looks more interesting to me than Fallout 4. I know I'm probably in the vast minority, but this is more of the type of game that I want to play rather than like something gigantic like Fallout, because we've gotten a lot of those open world type games this year, and I don't know if I'm starting to get burnt out on that, but I'm sure eventually I'll end up playing Fallout. But Tomb Raider, I'm going for Tomb Raider first. And then they closed out the show with Halo Wars 2. They showed just a little CG trailer. That was kind of a shocker. There's always been people talked about possibly want another Halo Wars game. I really liked the first Halo Wars game. I beat it. I've never been into really RTSs, so when I got that on the 360, I mean, I didn't think that it was bad. You know, most PC people probably didn't think that it was very good. I thought it was fun. I mean, I'm a huge Halo fan. That whole RTS thing was new to me. I thought it was a really fun game, so I am totally down with another Halo Wars. It's made by a new developer, so not quite sure if we're going to get the same type of game that we got last time, so keep our fingers crossed and see what happens, but that's coming out next year. And I think 2016 is looking to be a pretty damn big year for Microsoft. They've got some heavy hitters coming out next year. Like I just said, Halo Wars is coming out next year. Recore, that game they showed off at E3, is coming out next year. Gears 4, Scalebound, Crackdown, Quantum Break, those are all coming out next year. KI Season 3. Supposedly that new Rare game Sea of Thieves is coming out next year. You'll probably see one, maybe two of those games get delayed into 2017. But if all those come out, or even one or two get delayed, that is still a big year for Xbox next year. Their future is looking really good. And the last thing I wanted to touch on from Gamescom, without no Sony being there, is this new mode from Star Wars Battlefront called Fighter Squadron. It's a 10 on 10 multiplayer mode. I think there's going to be bots in there possibly, but it looks pretty much like X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. It's just like a straight up chaos dogfight. It looks fantastic. I was starting to worry a little bit about that game because it seems like it's just going to be a Battlefront game, multiplayer only pretty much. But it looks like they're adding a few extra modes in here. This is definitely going to be something that I think that people are going to love. That game is shaping out to be pretty good. That's going to be one of the big games of this year. That's going to do it for our Gamescom talk. I want to get into a little article that I teased about last week from Justin Towell on GamesRadar.com. It's titled, "The Share Button is This Generation's Defining Feature." And it starts like this. "It was when I was 150 starring Geometry Wars 3 Dimensions on PS Vita that it hit me. There were several occasions when my performance was either astonishingly good or out in 5 seconds bad, and in both situations I reached for the share button, only to feel smooth Vita shell instead. It was at that moment I realized the button's impact. And it's funny because last week I had the same feeling. I was playing through Uncharted Golden Abyss, and I was just looking at how good that game looked. And for a little, I couldn't believe I was playing this on a handheld. And the thought just came over my head, man, I wish I could just take a screenshot of this and just send it out to Twitter and just say, I can't believe I'm playing this on a handheld. And I totally agree with what he's saying here in this article. The share feature on PS4 and even on Xbox One, it's been such a great feature. Being able to instantly share beautiful scenes in games, accomplishments, glitches, just being able to share that with everybody in social media in an instant, instead of being usually when we were growing up, games were more of like to yourself thing, or if you had a few buddies in the room. But it's incredible just being able to hit a button and just share what you're being able to do with everybody in the world is just awesome. And it comes with that you put the hashtag PS4 share, and you can go on Twitter, and I do that every day pretty much. I search hashtag PS4 share, and you'll just see a list of just like crazy things that people are posting on Twitter or Facebook. It's really cool, and it's ingenious too. It's free advertising. People could be sharing pictures, and you could look up one of their pictures, and be like, wow, that game looks really cool. I think I'm gonna go give that a shot. It's free marketing. And Sony had that at launch. I think that was a huge marketing tool of theirs. Xbox fans were begging for that feature, and I think it took them a little over a year to get that feature out. Justin goes on to say that this stuff has been out there for a while now with capture cards, but he says, but PS4's OS is the most Apple-like interface in the platform's history, not because of how it looks or even in its notification system, but because it always gives the impression of being ready to work for you, taking the hassle out of the equation. If the process were ever to drag or frustrate, the gaming session would no longer be fun. That's why little things we take for granted, like background uploading, are invaluable. And it's true. It's such a hassle-free thing on PlayStation 4. It really is Apple-like. I've used a lot of the screenshot sharing. I've used the video uploading software they have on there. It's so simple. It's easy to work. It makes anybody could use it. It's a great starting off point for someone who wants to get into sharing videos on YouTube or just anywhere online in general without having to spend the money for the capture card and upgrade your PC and stuff. It's just really simple and fast and fluid. Unlike the Xbox Ones, and he does mention about how you have to individually upload files, and it is a little bit. You have to go through a few more menus to upload your pictures to Twitter on the Xbox One. Making videos is much more simpler on PS4. That's something hopefully with this chat pad peripheral that they announced for the Xbox One that can make things go a little bit faster. It's just so much more of a smoother experience on PS4 after comparing both of them. It makes me want to use the PS4 more to play the multi-plat games, just for the fact that if I want to share something, it's just much more. It's just simpler. And he pretty much sums it up at the end perfectly. He says, the share button's functionality is beautiful. It enables you to share the amazing imagery, experiences, triumphs, failures, achievements, and humor from the very personal experience that happens to you on your gaming journey with anyone in the world who has access to a net connection. It's perfectly labeled with 5 letters denoting its function, share. It surely brings a community closer together through sharing. And now it's here. I doubt it'll ever go away. It's this generation's most important contribution so far, of course. I thought it was a fantastic article. I'll put a link to it in the show. He just nails it here. You have to totally agree. I never thought when I first heard of all the sharing stuff, I'm like, wow, who wants to do this? But it's kind of addictive once you get used to sharing stuff and you get people commenting on it. It's fun. It's really fun to do it. It's fun to create things, creating videos. You feel like adding commentary. You feel like you're you feel like you're creating something, even though you kind of are, but you kind of aren't. But yeah, it's really fun and addictive. I love doing it. For me, I totally agree. It's this generation's best feature, and it's even gotten me on the fast track to doing these little Let's Play videos that I do on YouTube, and even this right here, this little podcast that I do. I've always wanted to do that, and it started with just sharing, uploading videos to YouTube a month ago, and it just slowly started progressing. Well, I can do this with the PS4. I can do this. Well, why don't I try and do this? It can't be that much harder. So, yeah, I mean, it all started from that share button, pretty much. Now I'd like to get into what I've been playing in the past week. I finished up the story in Arkham Knight. Kind of. Well, you beat the story, and if you don't have everything 100% done, it kind of gives you an ending, but they leave a little bit until you 100% it. So I think I got like 15% of the side missions left to do, and I think about 70 Riddler trophies left to get before you get the true ending. So I've played a little bit of that. Did a couple of Let's Plays of Galaxy. That's a fun little game. Beat the first season in that. The best way I could say to describe that game, it's a roguelike, and it's kind of like a shoot 'em up, but it's kind of not. It's not twin stick. You use the left stick to aim around, and you use that. I think the right trigger is used to move. The controls are kind of difficult in that game, but it is really fun. You drive around, you shoot like other ships, aliens, and you get upgrades, and you got to beat like 5 levels in a row, or else to get to the next season. If you die, you start back from the beginning. It's really fun. I definitely go back to that game. The thing I like most about it is just the style of it. It feels like an 80s Saturday morning cartoon, like anime kind of, with like its music. It's almost like got like an 80s like metal type of music going for it, especially the 80s like art direction. It's almost like a space like Transformers type like Voltron or something like that. It's really cool. And then I've been playing what everybody else has been playing, Rocket League. Holy cow, that game is awesome. That game better be a top 2 at the very worst sports games of the year. That's a sports game. I'm not very great at it, but I slowly, as I'm playing more and more, I'm kind of getting the hang of what you got to do. There's certain movements you need to do to hit the ball here, to bicycle kick and headers, and getting your angles right. A lot of my problem is I'm overshooting the ball sometimes with the turbo button. I played it. I think I'm on my second season now of that in pro, and it's difficult. It's difficult, but man, that game is such a blast to play. I just want to keep going back to playing it. It's so much fun. And that's about all I've been playing this week. Coming up next week on the YouTube channel, we'll probably have some Let's Plays of Dead Island, some more Galaxy Let's Plays. As we, it's still kind of slow up until the following week when we get the EA Access trial of Madden 16. But that's going to be the show for this week. I'd like to thank all my listeners for listening last week. The comments and the likes meant a lot to me. I busted my ass putting this together, and it's something that I always wanted to do. And when you get kind words and people like what you do, it sure as hell means a lot. Just thanks to everybody out there who commented and liked on everything. And remember, if you like what I'm doing here with the Let's Plays and with the podcast, please go on YouTube, like, share it, and subscribe to the channel. The bigger the audience and the more people this reaches, the better content and more content that will be coming out. So thank you to everybody, and we will see you next week.